I wrote my letter um, to myself for when I was 12 years old. I wish I could go back in time to when I was 12 years old and tell myself the things I know now. You see, back then, I felt such shame, guilt, confusion, and fear. I remember learning the same lessons that are taught to all young boys, right? That boys are strong, boys are tough, boys are protectors, and boys don't cry. But when I looked in the mirror each day, that's not what I saw, and that's certainly not what I felt. I wish I could go back in time and tell myself that what happened wasn't my fault. If only I could remind myself that I was just a child and I didn't deserve any of the trauma that I was enduring. If only I could tell myself that I wasn't alone, that like me, 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused before the age of 18. I wish I could go back in time and erase the terrible messages swirling around in my head. For years, I believed that because I didn't put up a fight or tell anyone, that I was to blame. I believed that because my body reacted and felt some form of pleasure, that I must have liked what was happening. I thought because I was a boy and my abuser was a woman, that no one would believe me if I came forward. That people would say, as a man, I should have been strong enough to protect myself. Or that I shouldn't be complaining in the first place, because any sex for guys is good sex after all. I was convinced if people knew what happened, that no one would want to be my friend, no woman would want to marry me in the future, and my parents would forever be ashamed of me. That I would be considered damaged goods for the rest of my life. And so for the next 12 years, I did what as a boy I was programmed to do. I told myself it was time to man up and began the process of burying my pain, suppressing my emotion, and running away from all connection and vulnerability. I wish I could go back and tell myself that trying to man up will only make things worse. That as a consequence of being so tough and stoic, I will struggle with anxiety and low self-worth for a decade. That as a result of keeping all the hurt inside, I will suffer from high blood pressure, heart palpitations, and stomach ulcers as a teenager. And that in trying to be man enough, I will forfeit my ability to be the best son, friend, or partner I could be. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but looking back, it's clear to see how rigid gender norms hurt my health and relationships. After everything happened, I immediately stopped hanging out with my real friends, and I tried so hard to fit in with the popular kids in order to shield my insecurities. I displaced the anger, the rage towards my abuser onto my mother, hurting that relationship for years to come. I became jealous and frustrated at my partner, who I love more than anything, anytime she wanted to be with her friends instead of me, which she didn't deserve. And I shied away from friendships with other men as I was determined to go through this alone. I wish I could go back in time to when I was 12 years old and tell myself the things that I know now. That one day I will find healing. I will find liberation by breaking free from those harmful gender norms that held me back all those years. That one day I will marry the most amazing person whose love and support will help shatter the shame I carry, and that one day I will dedicate my career to supporting survivors, modeling vulnerability, and promoting authentic, respectful, and healthy manhood. So, to all the men and boys out there who are suffering in silence, please know you're not alone. You didn't deserve to be treated that way, and you don't have to keep the pain locked away inside. We are the authors of our story, and the previous chapters of our lives do not define us. Owning our story and embracing vulnerability can be scary, trust me, I know, but we deserve to be happy, to be healthy, to be connected. And in the wise words of Brene Brown, only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light.